Hi everyone. Today I'm going to explain the agentic loop process and how an agent calls the tools and iterate backs on it. Let's suppose you have a large language model. When you attach some tools to it, it becomes an agent. An agent can execute the tools to perform any action, and you can attach multiple tools to an agent to perform multiple actions. But these actions are performed in the background, and the user doesn't actually see what is happening there. So, in order to increase the user experience, you stream the intermediate output of the tools. Once your agent grows, it becomes more and more capable, and you attach more and more tools to it for performing a large number of operations. Executing these tools one by one increases the latency, which becomes a bad user experience if you have hundreds of tools attached to a particular agent. So instead of executing the tools one by one, piece by piece, you execute them in parallel in an asynchronous manner so that the latency will decrease and the user experience will increase. The core agent loop contains this process. There is an LLM which calls the tools. Once the tool is executed, it observes the result, and if there are no further tool calls, then it just returns the final answer. And if there are more tool calls, then it loops back and execute the next tool. But there are some of the pitfalls or some of the drawbacks in this process that are not addressed. There are no max retries, there is no token budget, and what if the same tool call gets repeated again and again and again? So in order to tackle this, if there are no tool calls, then you just return the text response. If there are max turns that got hit, then you raise the error. If the token budget get exceeded, then you either summarize or compress the output. And if the same call gets repeated again and again, then you set a max iteration and then escalate the process. Human interrupt is a best practice, but it's not necessary. You should avoid these common pitfalls while creating an effective agent. While I will also attach a link in the description that will point to a GitHub repo that explains all of these processes and best practices in the code.